Hello. Welcome to my stamp room. My name is Terry Phelps, and I'm independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And I usually try to come to you live on Wednesday nights just to share and give you some inspiration, hopefully. I hope you're all well. Um, yeah, spring is coming. I love it. It feels great in Minnesota right now. I have hardly any snow left, and yeah, daylight savings time starts. Yeah, so super exciting. Well, tonight I am popping on because I feel like sometimes I just want to play. I don't necessarily want to make something. I don't want that pressure of that. I want to play around with some new products that I have either not used before or have not used as much as I'd like. And I just want to just relax and see what I come up with, right? So if you know me, I keep all kinds of scraps. Nothing gets thrown away hardly. And I have made a lot of things out of just scraps I've had around, and because I primarily use Stampin' Up! Stuff, it's all color coordinated, so that's super cool. So I can make things, and eventually it will end up on a final product, right? So I just take and I grab a few products, and I just sit down and I just kind of play. So that's what I'm going to do tonight. Um, we'll see what happens. So let me go down to my desktop. These are the things I decided to pull out and try. I have not used these yet, and so I'm going to give it a whirl, right? So the things that I'm pulled out, the Days Like This Memories and More packet, and these are like really springy, and I'm super into spring right now. Like all of us, I'm just waiting. So these are the right colors that I want to kind of mess with. I have a lot of this beautiful bokeh, and I really love it, and I just want to use it more. And look at the beautiful colors. And so when I do this, I try to pick products that are in their color schemes, so that I can just grab and start creating, right? The other things that I pulled out were the Extraordinary Flora washi tape. And this washi tape is awesome because it has two color schemes. There's, I want to say maybe it's a 6-inch length of pinks, and then it goes to like a 6-inch length of purples. So super fun. And it has a stamp set, and this all matches what is on the washi tape. So the thing that's cool about this, and I love mixing up black and white with color, right? So I will show you a cool thing that I think is great with that. You could also take and obviously stamp this and color it in a totally different color scheme. Say I want to make, I want to do this in fall colors. I can easily do that by stamping it, right? And do that. So I've got that. And then the matching, this is a bundle, so this coordinates with both the washi tape and the stamp. So I can create all kinds of flowers with just one swipe through the machine. And then when I was thinking about this, I also wanted to use this Forever Plaid so that I could add some dimension. So with that, I'm just going to get started. And so I think, oh my goodness, sorry. So Stampin' Up! Just came up with a positioner, stamp positioner, and it's super awesome. I love it. This is the paper, and these are the colors. So I love it. And then the backs are a little different. So I'm going to use that because I think they coordinate really well with the Memories and More pack. So this is our positioner, and I just wanted to show this is grid paper that is an accessory, and it's got these little pegs, and it's great because it holds your paper in place, right? And then you've got this top panel, and then we also have a smaller panel, and then you have your little magnets, and they have little tabs. So I'm going to use that, but before I do, I'm going to cut a couple pieces of just plain white cardstock because I want to use this washi tape and the stamp for that matter. So I'm just going to do a 5.5. I'm just going to cut this in half like I would be to be making a card base. All right, and I'm going to get this out of here. I'm going to bring back the Stampin' Positioner. Now, I am going to use the technique in our positioner. There is a little diamond right here, and I'm going to choose to line up my paper in that placement instead of, I could just do it this way and then lay my stamp, this way, but I like this because it secures the paper really well between these two pegs. So that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm just going to place my magnets down. And so when you use this positioner, you can tell when you have this in the correct position because your logo is going to be in the outside. So that's just really helpful. And this has little springs, and then there are matching springs on this side. And the thing I love about this is if you ink this up, if I get ink on it, in fact, I just cleaned it, it's not going to touch the surface, and that's great because, you just don't want that to happen, right? But if you don't notice it after you go ahead and make your impression, you still can know that it's just not going to affect your stamping. So that's awesome. All right, I think that's pretty good. Whoops. So I'm going to set this on here. And again, I have my stuff pretty well anchored in. I'm going to have to move my magnet a little bit so they just lock into the holes here. I just moved it to the wrong place again. There we go. And I don't think I stamped it very well in one corner here, so I'm going to do that again. The nice thing about the positioner is even if I didn't get it down exactly the first time around, when it stamps the second time, it will go right on top. And if you see, I do have a little ink on here, but that's okay. I'm not going to worry about it. All right. Then you're just going to nice and press down. And you're going to get this really nice impression. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to have to put this down again because my magnet didn't keep that down good enough. Alrighty, so I'm going to do this again. And of course it didn't work on camera. Haven't had a problem with it before. I tell ya. All right, hopefully now. All right. All right, voila. Sweet. So I'm going to take and I'm going to also take my washi tape and I'm going to put this also, and I'm going to put this on my glass. I'm running out of space here. All right. So I'm going to also take this and I'm just going to go across. And it's on a fairly good I love this. I was so excited when I saw this washi tape, and we have another one as well. This is the washi tape that we had from the main catalog, and then we also have one from the spring catalog. But I love it. And of course, you could put this on another color cardstock and you would have a totally another different look. So I just wanted this on here enough. All right. So I'm just going to cut this in half and I'm going to run this through the die cut machine and we will be ready to then start playing here. Okay, so this is going to be awesome because I can just go through my cut and emboss machine twice and I'll have plenty of flowers to work with. So you see how this just will lay right here and I'll be able to cut all my items all at once. So I'm going to do that real quick. Like I said, I love using black and white along with color. I think it's an awesome contrast, especially, just depending on what you're using it for. But I think it's a really cool thing to be able to use them interchangeably. right, so here we now will have all these nice black and white florals. Now I could have chose to color this if I had like a color scheme, say I wanted to do fall colors or just, just a different color palette. That's what's on the washi tape. I could have colored them all and then cut them out, but I'm going to use them on one because I'm going to use them as black and white, but in the future I can color them. It's not going to be too hard to color these, right? And now I'm just going to take my washi tape that I have on my cardstock here, and I'm going to run that through the cut and die machine too. And then, oh, I guess I would need the die, wouldn't I? Always something. Let's see. And so depending on where you tear your tape. So I have this on the paper. So I'm going to line this up this way, but then I should still be able to go up here and do the others. So, because you're not always going to tear it in the same place necessarily. So, but you can still use them, right? So I'm going to run this through real quick. And I love how they thought that through, that using the washi tape and having it be in two different color palettes. It's awesome because it just gives you that much more versatility, to use this. So I'm going to now finish by taking and doing this part so I can do pinks, I can do purples and or mix and match. So that's pretty cool. Oh, got one stuck. All right, almost done here. I love using washi tape in projects. I just think it's such a nice finish. You can, it's a nice accent, right? And this is really cool because it's so much larger than, your typical little roll. All right. Sweet. And even this little pieces that are on the edge, I can add that to the edge of a card. I don't throw anything away. Okay, so this was the washi tape on the cardstock, and then this was just using the stamp on cardstock. Alrighty, so what am I going to do with all these, right? So I thought, because this paper matches so well with the Memories and More pack, that I'm going to just start playing. So I'm going to make a couple different piles. I've got my colored washi pieces, and I mean, that's pretty cool. You get all these pieces and you only had to run through your machine once. I love that. And then, oops, that's a colored one. And then we've got all these. There's a color, and these are a couple colors. All right, so we have the black and whites, and then I had some left over from the first run. So I've got a couple left over, and this is in the other colors. But they all match really well. It's just that the flowers on one strip of the dye or of the washi tape are pinks, and one is more of purples. So I'm just going to, so these are my piles that I've got to work with, right? And I'm going to make all kinds of different little things. These were some ideas I had running through my head. If you're like me, sometimes you cut a lot of your panels, and this would be a panel for like the inside or the front of a card base. So I had one of those, and what I did was I put a strip of the washi tape on one of these basic, panels, right? And that would have been fine. And I just took a piece of cardstock that I thought would be a good match, right? So I did this, and I thought this would be a good base for a card. But I thought it was really plain, so I took and I ran it through the embossing folder to give it some texture. So this is already a good start to a card, or it could go on in a journal page. It could go on a scrapbook page. But I am just going to keep this because I can decorate this with sentiments or whatnot, when I decide to use it, right? So that was one way that I used that. I had this leftover scrap of the washi tape, and so I placed it on the designer series paper, and so it looks totally different, right? Because this is on what it would look like on just plain white, but it has a whole different look on colored. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to run this through my die cut machine. I found a little die that I think would work, and I'm just going to make this into like a label, or just an embellishment on a card in the future, right? So I'm just going to run that through, and that will be another piece. And what I'll do is I'll just add all these things to a stash, and then I will use it as I, need it, right? But it's fun because you just start doing things, and it's amazing to me how many times I just play like this. And I've made complete projects out of nothing but just scraps that I either have there's scraps left over from a different project, or I just sit down and just make things like this. So yeah, so I'm really big into junk journaling and mixed media and that kind of thing. So I am loving that I can use things like that. But look how cool that is, right? And that's just taking a scrap of what was left over of my washi tape from actually doing this piece. So that is another idea. So I've got this in my little stash. I've got that. So now I'm going to take and I'm going to bring in little pieces of, here's my designer series papers. And I'm just going to sit down and I'm going to play. So I was thinking this is one of the 4x6 cards that's from the Memories and More kit, right? So this is all kinds of different cards in here. Now this is bigger than a card base because it is primarily meant for like scrapbooking. But I thought, how cool would this be? I could use either side of this paper, but I think I'm going to make a pocket, and this, or I could use this. I don't know. My mind changes a lot. So I'm going to use, I'm going to use this one. So what I'm going to do is just, did I run out of tape? So I'm just going to take and I'm going to make a pocket. Okay, and I'm going to just line this up. And I think these are the same, yeah, because this is, yeah. So I think I'm just going to all right, so now I have a pocket, so I can use this for something another time. Actually, I could add, just to keep things together, I can place that in here. And let's see. Oops. So if I have this, and then I took another piece of designer series paper in that pack, and this is the blues. And I think, because if I do use these for two different journal pages or whatnot, I think I'm going to take and make this a pocket as well. And this is the back side of this pretty one. So I think I'm going to take, and I'm going to, sometimes it's sad covering up the pretty stuff, right? But I'm going to make another pocket page. And I'm just going to line these up. All right. And so I'm going to take some of my pieces and I'm going to decorate them. So I like combining the black and the white with the color. So I'm just going to lay some of these down here. I guess I'll try gluing. And again, I'm not thinking about a project, a final project. This will just come together, today it'll come to a certain point, and then when I actually use it, it'll evolve some more, right? So let me see. That can go there. Let's see, maybe I want That's too much alike. Well, it's not too bad. All right. I'll just use this. And unless I had a particular idea in mind, I would, use ribbons and embellishments, but I'm not sure yet what I'm going to use this in, so I don't want to put that on yet. All right, so these are just two things that I'll have ready if I want to add them to a junk journal or scrapbook page. Let's see. I can take this paper. Oh, let's see. Ooh, that's a yellow. I could take some designer series paper and add a backing to this. Ooh, I like that. So I could cut a little piece for this. So this is, should see what this is. This is like 3 inches by 4. So I'm going to do 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. Alrighty. So I'm just going to put that aside here. And I'm just going to make a panel there. And again, these are just going to be things that I'm going to be able to use at a future point. And I'll be able to do more with them as I, decide what I'm going to do. Okay. So I'm going to have that in my little stash, right? So let's take, and so we have all kinds of choices. We got this beautiful butterflies that might actually go really well in here. That would be cute. But I might keep this with this because then I can use that later on. And then it would also coordinate with the other page that I could use with it. Okay, so these are all just things that, I'll just keep in my little stash. All right, so these cards, they're all double-sided, and they have all kinds of things. Like I really like this, and then we have some solids. So let's so I took some cards. Here's one that is just a butterfly. And so that we could decorate. I could just add that. That'd be kind of cute. Another thing I like about doing this is I use my products then, right? Because they don't do any good sitting on my shelf. So if I just start putting some things together, I'm more apt. Whoa, I just really went nutso with that glue. I'm more apt to then actually use it, right? So that's another thing, it can be inspiring, it's relaxing, and just gonna add that. So it's just a little something. Here is, this is also, I'm going to add, some black and white. This would be great little journal page. You could do a little photo in here. I could color this at a later date in whatever project I'm going to use. This one is just a background. This is the other side of this. So I'm going to take, and I'm going to add some of these. I think I'll put, I think I'll put this one on first since it's the largest. Oops. Yeah, let's see. Okay. Just trying to see if there's any glue under there. All right. That's that. And I'm going to throw some of this here. Now these could be added to cards, your card front. So here's a card base, then I can add this, and then I can just go from there, right? I can add ribbon, embellishments, all that kind of stuff. So the idea is just to have some things that are handy, and this is a really very quick way to do this because, like I said, these washi tape, you get multiple things just with one swing through your machine. So isn't that fun? I was thinking you could put this on a card. So you have this here, and you have your card base, and you have your panel. And again, this is just, you could do this, and you could have some writing, but what if you put a small photo? And this would become like a little memory in a card, right? So you can say whatever you want here, and then maybe put a photo. It's just things like that. It makes my my juices flow. And so so it just adds a little something something. Here's my cute butterflies. I love this. So I think I'm going to add It's kind of fun. Or do we have some purple? We have purple. That's the same. This one would be good. So I love because everything is, now these weren't made to go together, these two papers, but because the colors are all coordinated, they will blend very nicely. Let's do this. Oh, that one's got to go. I don't like that. Oh, there's a purple. Maybe if I do this way, so this is that end one that I had. So I could glue that on the end. Like that. Don't like that much. All right, I'll do that. So you add a sentiment to this. Again, you can use this in a lot of different things. It's kind of like making card candy. Okay, this one. So you get the idea. Fun, right? Lots of laughter. I've got some yellow flowers here. Let's see. I like that. And of course, you know, when you add embellishments and so that'll be cute. You could add this. Again, you could do so many things. This is just to give you an idea. You could take and use an embossing folder. You know, you could do a lot of things with this, right? It's just an idea to have. yeah, so just sitting down and just not like overwhelming yourself, not even thinking that much about, you know, um, what you're making. It's just kind of a great little exercise too to just kind of get you motivated and get some juices flowing. You could take this card and, or let's see, these are butterflies. It's kind of cool by itself, right? I could take, and that would go well with this, but I think I'm going to take this and I'm just going to try it. I'm going to throw it in an embossing folder and let's see what it looks like. Just another dimension, right? So all right. So that's interesting. It doesn't look so much like butterflies right now, which is okay, right? Because, you know, maybe I'm not going to use that when I use this in whatever I decide to use it for. So I'm going to put a backing on that. So I'm going to do 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. Okay. So I'm just going to layer that on this, and that will give me a base. And that is where I would think the black and white florals would go really well on this. So we're going to do that. Why not? Okay, so that, oh, I didn't get it on there quite straight. Ugh, but I can always cut that down. So let's see, we can add, this would be cool. Let's see. Do that. Let's see, are these butterflies going any one direction? Not really. I think they're like all over the place. Okay. So I'm going to add that there. Do I have any? No. Yep. So I'm keeping these all pretty basic because I can make it more coordinated and more specific when I actually use it for whatever purpose I end up using it. So that has some dimension and stuff. So fun, right? You can do Wink Stella. I could do coloring on this. All these things they're just basic. They're just to start. And when I actually use them, depending on what kind of card I'm going to make, or if it's going to go on a page, a scrapbooking page. Um, it'll all be adjusted, and it'll all look awesome. That's what's so cool about it. So I have lots left over, and I can keep going. And but I think I'll just stop there. You get the idea. But all I'm doing is just taking a couple different products out. I'm sitting down and I'm just creating things that I can use in the future. I don't have any game plan. I'm just using new things. So this is pretty. This would be cool. Again, so I hope that inspired you at all to just sit down, and in a matter of a few minutes, I've got all these things that are starts of however I want to use them, and they're just the beginnings. They're simple, but I will add sentiments or embellishments, ribbons, whatever, pictures, all that stuff can be added when I actually use it. But it's super easy, and it's just relaxing. And these are all just things I just sat down and just did using like 3 products. This was fun. This is just a washi tape, and I did it on the designer series paper. It has a totally different look. This is a base that I can add to anything, and there's washi tape, just using it as it is with an embossing folder. So all kinds of things you can do with these. And I have this stash now, and I can just keep going, and it's just fun. I like it. So I hope that inspires you. It's just an exercise to, relax. There's no pressure of having anything totally in your mind that you have to complete or stress out about. And you're using your stuff, and it's just going to make a quick thing later on down the road. So, which is another great thing. So I hope it inspires you to just grab some stuff, sit down, chill, have some wine, and just create some stuff. You'll use it, So, all right. Have a great week, and I'll see you again next week. Take care.